Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, Red Pill Edition. My name is Leon Jones, and this evening I'm going to do a part two to the Equal Rights Amendment. Apparently, on Tuesday, it sneaked back into Congress for a possible ratification. I know states like Illinois, they've already ratified it. But remember, to ratify the Constitution, you need 38 states, which is 3/4 of the Union. They may not get that. Now, being a red pill man, you need to understand this when it comes to the Equal Rights Amendment. It's an amendment that passed way back in the late 1910s and early 1920s to give women a chance to vote. Now, the title of this video is the Equal Rights Amendment would be destructive in today's society. The Equal Rights Amendment would be destructive in today's society. Yes, it will. I believe that women have plenty of rights. And what we see with this modern day woman is they want role reversal. They want a matriarchy. And this modern day woman basically cannot take care of themselves. They believe in institutions like government, the education system, religion, private sector jobs, and of course education, the five powers of society. But women still believe that they are being oppressed. Although you have a number of women who are graduating from college, a number of women are in the workplace, they're making money. Many of them don't know how to be wives or mothers or raise children, but they're still complaining about what they are not getting. And this is why I tell a number of guys, stop putting women on a pedestal. Now, as a red pill man and a MGTOW man, I don't hate women, but you have to call out the behavior for what it is. And there are too many guys out here who don't understand what's going on. And my job is to wake you up. And when it comes to politics, you need to vote with your feet, because if you don't know what's going on, the feminists in Congress are going to push something to the floor that's going to benefit women. I mean, we men are losing rights day by day. And what women want from us, they want us to continue to build, but they want us to be subservient to them. They want to call the shots. You see, a number of women, they want to be in charge without the responsibility. That doesn't make sense. Now, when I talk about the Equal Rights Amendment, I'm specifically talking about giving women equal rights. Now, you had the Equal Pay Act that was supposed to pass when Obama was president, where women get equal pay. Well, that 75 to 80 cents on a dollar that every woman makes is BS. The bottom line is women just don't know how to negotiate their salary, and a number of women don't go into the same types of fields. When it comes to college, there's a statistic out where you have women who are graduating with more degrees. That's true. However, women aren't going into the hard fields like STEM or medical. They're going into the fields like law, history, English, journalism. This is why a number of women are social justice warriors and feminists, because in the social science department, those professors indoctrinate women with feminist Marxism. Now, in a mind-boggling sham on Tuesday, Democrats defended the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA, during a House Judiciary subcommittee hearing. Now, with two Democratic congresswomen or woman one who is an ERA activist and one liberal celebrity, based an argument that was supposedly in the Democratic Party's favor or in the Democrats' favor. Even the professor who supposedly represented the opposition expressed her support for the substance of the amendment, just not the legal process that ERA activists are using. Now, this raises a question. Then, where is the equal representation for the majority of women, mothers, unborn children, women in the workplace, female students, athletes, widows, women in the military, abused women, and incarcerated women were not represented? Now, this created a courts-determined, sex-neutral society at the proposed constitutional amendment demands. And when they had that, it was explained to the people who were part of this court-determined sex-neutral society that this ERA would erase significant social and legal benefits that each of these women receives. I'm talking about the women that I just mentioned. Now, abortion would become a right enshrined into the Constitution, and taxpayers would be forced to pay them. Now, the state cases of New Mexico right to choose / NARAL versus Johnson and Doe v. Maher both used their states' ERAs to uphold taxpayer funding of elective abortions. Now, if the ERA were added to our Constitution, the Hyde Amendment that prohibits federal funding of abortions would also be null and void. Why? Because mothers would no longer enjoy female-only nursing rooms, which would either be open to men or eliminated altogether. Now, the federal and state programs that help women at their most vulnerable would be eliminated, and infants, women, children, or let's say WIC benefits for single and low-income mothers would also be done away with. See, the current federal WIC law serves pregnant women and mothers of young children, since women are considered small children's primary caregivers. Now, passing the ERA would void this program on the basis of sex discrimination. Do we really want America to become a completely sex-neutral society that sees no purpose in helping and protecting specifically women as they care for infants? See, women would lose their flexible work benefits that give them the freedom of maternity leave to raise their children. That's because women are the primary recipients of family leave benefits, which would be considered discriminatory under the ERA. Now, if all employers were forced to provide the same amount of leave benefits to both men and women, despite the differing biological needs for them, businesses are most likely to deal with the cost increase through cuts to paychecks or other benefits. Now, female students in public schools and colleges would also lose their privacy rights by being subjected to sex-neutral bathrooms, showers, and even locker rooms. They certainly would not be able to enjoy the sisterhood of sororities on campus. Female athletes would also be subjected to the same loss of privacy, but there would be fewer of them. Now, men will easily overtake sports after such integration based on their physical abilities. Well, because men's sports draw more money. In fact, women get money through Title IX. Now, women would be required to register for selective service, because right now women don't have to utilize selective service. Men have to utilize selective service or they can't get financial aid to college. Again, women would be required under the ERA to register for selective service, and those already enlisted would be sent into combat situations. Now, our front lines would have to have equal representation of men and women under the ERA, subjecting our military to dangerous situations that are largely unprepared for will only will weaken our nation's military readiness. Women-only institutions such as women's shelters and women's correctional facilities would have to open their doors to dangerous men, further traumatizing women with abusive past. Democrats have tried to ease the arguments of ERA opponents, just like saying they are trying to erase women altogether with this legislation. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat Texas, said, well, if we began this all over again, the world would implode the 38 states we already have, because now more are attuned to the arguments. There would be a mountain of opposition. Are the ERA proponents afraid of public disclosure on the harmful fronts or the harmful effects of the ERA? Pro-family leader Phyllis Schlafly tirelessly educated the public about the dangers of the ERA, because after Congress passed the ERA in 1972, it was ratified by 30 states within the first year. Now, once lawmakers and the American people were aware of the truth, progress slowed significantly, with only 5 additional states passing it before the deadline in 1979. Now, additionally, 5 states rescinded or withdrew their ratification because the ERA was defeated simply because the facts were exposed. Now, all liberty-loving Americans should oppose the ERA, not just for the reasons that I just gave you, but also because of its second section. Congress shall have the power to enforce the provisions of this article, unlike other amendments to the Constitution which limit the power and scope of federal government. And the ERA instructs the federal government to take more power, so Congress shall take more power. Now, the ERA would overturn countless state laws and demand that the federal government enforce complete sex neutrality in all aspects. That includes family law, criminal law, education, and insurance rates. States would lose more of their power and authority under this proposed constitutional amendment. Now, if the House wants a hearing on the ERA, then the Democratic leaders should offer equal opportunity to all and not discriminate against the millions of women who oppose this destructive idea. Now, again, this is the thought of women. And you see how illogical they are? See, women believe that they can use the government to take power. But if they enforce this act, they're going to lose everything that they have now. And you have to ask yourself, ladies, do you really want a neutral society? Because right now, you are in a position to where you get everything. I mean, you can accuse a man for rape. You can accuse a man for sexual harassment. You can get welfare. You can get a lot of scholarships for school. You have Title IX for women's sports, even though women's sports really aren't bringing that much money to colleges. You can basically say what you want on television, even if it's offensive to men. Heck, you can even come here on YouTube if you don't like something and get a person's video flagged or channel flagged. Now, the illogicalness of women in the house really don't have any concept of the real world. They don't have any concept of what women already have, because in their mind, women are still oppressed. Women still aren't where men are. See, when it comes to feminism, a number of women don't even know what feminism is. They've allowed themselves to be indoctrinated by women who didn't know what feminism was in the past, so they passed the ignorance to women of today. And this is why you have more social justice warriors than you ever had before. And the millennial generation is very lost, especially the women in the millennial generation. Because Generation X, which is my generation, I know we blame everything on the baby boomers, but I'm going to tell you, the Generation X generation from 1965 to 1981, my generation gravitated to feminism as well because it came out with us in the 1990s. And a number of mothers in my generation are raising some of these millennials. But if you want the ERA to pass, then you are going down a slippery slope. And this is why I'm telling you, all of you red pill men and MGTOW men, to vote with your feet. See, we can avoid the system, but when you got Congress people, and these are feminists, who are trying to slip something else into the government to take more rights away from us, that's a wake-up call. And to all my red pill men and MGTOW men, we have to start understanding politics a little better. Certainly, again, we can run all day, but we can't hide. We have to understand that the system is against us. Now, the ERA would be destructive in society. And if women think men aren't getting married now, if this were to be put into the Constitution, and again, you need 38 states, we would have a downfall of Western civilization or United States civilization. Because I can tell you, men aren't going to go that easy by giving up their power to the ERA. Now, of course, you're going to have some women who are against it too. Because why? Because women won't get that benefit when it comes to the selective service. They will also have to sign up for it. They will be in combat. Now, I know you have some women in combat now, but most women aren't in combat. You would have gender neutral bathrooms. And guess what that would do for a number of you women? There are going to be a lot more rapes. There's going to be a lot more sexual assaults because you're going to have a dangerous man to come in and he's going to do bodily harm to you. So this is what women don't do. They don't think. They don't look at the consequences. They think they're doing something to enhance women's empowerment. They're not. And this Equal Rights Amendment, if it were to pass, you got too many people who are MGTOW and red pill. What do they want to do? Do they want to shut us down as well? They can't. You see, a number of women feed off of social media. This is why you hear women such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She doesn't know anything. She went to college. She majored in economics, knows nothing about economics. She probably supports this bill or this amendment. But guess what? The amendment hasn't been voted on yet. And 1972, 30 states voted for it. They fell 3 states short in 1982 of passing the Equal Rights Amendment. We don't need an Equal Rights Amendment. We don't need government intrusion. And see, what women want, they want the government to have more power because they want to live in a totalitarianism system. Because women believe in Marxism. They think Marxism, utilizing redistribution of wealth and taking rights that they think one gender has over another and making everything equal, which would create what we call an egalitarian society, would help. It would not help. See, you can put all the legislation into a constitution, but guess what? You can't legislate how people really think and feel. Now, to all my red pill men and MGTOW men, got to get on board with the politics as well. Got to understand what our government is doing. See, we can sit here on YouTube or Facebook and talk about women all day. Yes, women are the problem. But women are very good to sell something to because they're very naive. Because what women want, they want control anyway. And women think they're going to get control. I mean, when I gave you all the information about what's going on with the Equal Rights Amendment. A lot of the women would lose their benefits too. But see, when you have lawmakers who are feminists, who are corrupt themselves, trying to put something into the Constitution, who think they know what's going on, they don't know what's going on either. They don't know that this legislation or this amendment would hurt everybody. But at the end of the day, this is what feminists do. They're misandrous. They want to take power away from men and give it to women. They are utilizing the egalitarian society, but for the most part, what this modern day woman wants is control. They want to control the birth rates. They want to control the money. They want to control, as a man, how we think, how we feel. They want to control the media. This is why some women believe in Venezuela. But again, when you have no logic and when you're used to getting everything fed to you for free and you're not listening to the legislation that's going to take it away from you, that tells me something about your intelligence, ladies. Because a number of you don't have any because you don't read. You live the lie. And again, you worship all these institutions, but they do nothing for you but take. They give you false power. And once they use you, they get rid of you as well. Because again, when it comes to government wants to control all aspects of our lives. And as a red pill or MGTOW man, we can't allow that to happen. I believe in freedom. I'm conservative. And we need to continue to live with some type of liberty. Now, we're not totally free, but we're not slaves. But at the end of the day, totalitarianism will not work in this country. Egalitarianism will not work in this country. Men and women were designed different, and they will continue to have different roles no matter what a feminist says. So at the end of the day, as a MGTOW man, a red pill man, all we men want is peace, not war. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. I'm going to post a link to this article under my video as well, so you'll know exactly what I was talking about. And also, you can reach me on Blog Talk Radio. And on Blog Talk Radio, I get a little bit more raw when it comes to the content because they can't flag it. Most of the content that I do is psychological content, but when it comes to this modern day woman, you have to address her psychologically as well because, again, she has no logic and she wants to control every aspect of your life, fellas. And when you're not awake, she will inherently control your life. This is why you need information, and knowledge is power. Now, hope you enjoyed the video. Once again, my name is Leon Jones. I'm out.